band of kobolds, waiting for them to respawn, and then slaying them again, over and over. My avatar was still only first level at the time, and it was one of the only safe ways for me to level up. IROC had taken several screenshots of my avatar that night, and labeled them Penisville the Mighty Kobold Slayer. Then he'd posted them onto the hatchery. He still brought it up every chance he got. He was never going to let it down. That's right, I called you a poser. I stood up and got in his, I'm not saying grill either. I stood up and got in his face. We skip over the grill part.
No, it's an 80s thing.
But that is more 90s, to be very clear.
The guy loved 80s and 90s.
I stood up and got in his grill. Can't do it. You are an ignorant, know-nothing twink. Just because you're 14th level, it doesn't make you a gunter. You actually have to possess some knowledge. Word, H said, nodding in his agreement. And then they bumped fist. This is just getting more 80s than epic. More snickering from the crowd, now directed at IROC. IROC glared at us a moment. Okay, let's see who the real poser is, he said. Check this out, girls. Grinning, he produced an item from his inventory and held it up. It was an old Atari 2600 game, still in the box. He purposefully covered the game's title with his hand, but I recognized the cover artwork anyways. It was a painting of a young man and a woman in ancient Greek attire, both brandishing swords. Lurking behind them were a minotaur with a bearded guy and an eye patch. Know what this is, Hotshot? IROC said, challenging me. I'll even give you a clue. It's an Atari game, released as part of a contest. It contains several puzzles, and if you solved them, you could win the prize. Sound familiar? IROC was trying to impress us with some clue or piece of Halliday lore he foolishly believed he'd been the first to uncover. Gunters loved to play the game of one-upmanship, and were constantly trying to prove that they had acquired some more obscure knowledge than anyone else. But IROC totally sucked at it. You're joking, right? I said. You just now discovered the Sword Quest series? IROC deflated. You're holding Sword Quest Earthworld, I continued. The first game in the Sword Quest series, released in 1982. I smiled wide. Can you name the next 3 games in the series? His eyes narrowed. He was, of course, stumped. Like I said, he was a total poser. Anyone else? I said, opening up the question on the floor. The Gunters in the crowd eyed each other, but no one spoke up. Fire World, Water World, Air World, H answered. Bingo, I said, and we bumped fist again. Bam! I hope there's a lot of fist bumping as we continue. I do. Although Arrow World was never actually finished because Atari fell on hard times and canceled the contest before it was completed, IROC quietly put the game box back in his inventory. You should join up with the Suxers, IROC, H said, laughing. They could really use someone with your vast stores of knowledge. IROC flipped in the bird. If you two fags already knew about the Sword Quest contest, how come I never once heard you mention it? Come on, IROC, H said, shaking his head. Sword Quest Earthworld was Atari's unofficial sequel to Adventure. Every Gunter worth their salt knows about that contest. How much more obvious can you get? IROC tried to save some face. Okay, if you're both such experts, who programmed all the Sword Quest games? Dan Hitchens and Todd Fryer, I recited. Try asking me something difficult. I got one for you, H interjected. What were the prizes Atari gave out to the winner of each contest? Ah, I said, good one. Let's see. The prize for Earthworld contest was the Talisman of Penaltine Truth. It was solid gold and encrusted with diamonds. The kid who won it melted it down to pay for college, as I recall. Yeah, H prodded. Quit stalling. What about the other two? I'm not stalling. The Fire World Chalice was prize was a chalice of light. And the Waterworld prize was supposed to be the crown of life, but it was never awarded due to the cancellation of the contest. Same goes for the Air World prize, which was supposed to be a Philosopher's Stone. H grinned and gave me a double high five. Oh my god, the double high five, 80s awesomeness with a fist bump. That just happened. You guys were just witness to that. And if the contest hadn't been canceled, the winners of the first 4 rounds would have competed for the grand prize, the Sword of Ultimate Sorcery. Not the Sword of Sorcery, the Sword of Ultimate Sorcery. I nodded. The prizes were all mentioned in the Sword Quest comic books that came with the games. Comic books which happened to be visible in the treasure room in the final scene of Anorak's invitation, by the way. The crowd burst into applause. Ah, hooray, yay. Yeah, that was my applause. I'm gonna get the applause feature. Irock lowered his head in shame. Since I'd become a gunter, it had been obvious to me that Halliday had drawn inspiration from his contest from the Sword Quest contest. From the Sword Quest contest. I had no idea if he'd borrowed any of the puzzles from them too, but I'd studied the games and their solutions thoroughly just to be safe. Fine, you win, Irock said. But you both obviously need to get a life. And you, I said, obviously need to find a new hobby because you clearly lack the intelligence and commitment to be a gunter. No doubt, H said. Try doing some research for a change, Irock. I mean, did you even hear of Wikipedia? It's free. Good news, everyone. Wikipedia seems to make it to 2045.
Of course it does.
All that donation stuff every year that he asks for apparently keeps going. Good for them. Our wikis are safe. Irock turned and walked over to the long boxes of comic books stacked on the other side of the room, as if he'd lost interest in the discussion. Whatever, he said over his shoulder. If I didn't spend so much time offline getting laid, I'd probably know just as much worthless shit as you two do. H ignored him and turned back to me. What were the names of the twins who appeared in the Sword Quest comic books? Tara and Tor. Damn, Z, you are the man. Thanks, H. I know. I threw the I know in there because it seemed like it should have been there. Edit. A message flashed on my display informing me that the 3-minute warning bell had just been rung in the classroom. I knew H and Irock were seeing the same warning because our schools operated in the same schedule. Time for another day of higher learning, H said, standing up. Drag, Irock said. God, with the 80s references. See you losers later. He gave me the finger. Then his avatar disappeared as he logged out of the chat room. The other Gunters began to log out and vanish too, until only H and I remained. Seriously, H, I said. Why do you let that moron hang out here? Because he's fun to beat at video games, and his ignorance gives me hope. How so? Because if most of the other Gunters out there were as clueless as Irock, and they are, Z, believe me, that means you and I really do have a shot at winning this contest. I shrugged. I guess that's one way to look at it. Want to hang out after school again tonight? Around 7 or so? I've got a few errands to run, but then I'm going to tackle some of the stuff on my need to watch list. A space marathon, perhaps? Oh, hell yes, I said. Count me in. We logged out simultaneously just as the final bell began to ring. And that is the end of chapter 3 and the end of the hour. Guys, I hope you're enjoying it. That one was very fun to read. Very fun chapter. Getting a lot more in depth. Don't need to explain as much stuff. We will continue this next Saturday, or next Sunday, sorry. I don't think there's anything that's gonna... Pardon me. I don't think there's anything that's gonna prevent me from doing so. So... So I hope you enjoyed yourselves. I'm gonna take a break, give my fiance a kiss now that she is awake, and get ready for my day. I hope all of you guys have a wonderful day. I will normally I don't stream on Sundays, but I kind of feel the need to today because I've been having a crappy week with personal stuff. So I think I'll be on streaming today for enjoyment for myself and others. Have a wonderful day, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, tell your friends. Hit that follow button if you haven't already. I know you have, though. And you know, this will be up on YouTube as well. YouTube Yoroshi. And you know, check me out on other things too. I do a lot of other games. There's Minecraft that we do a lot of. I'm playing Infinite Crisis right now. That's a whole lot of fun too. So you know, just keep it out. I'm on Twitter as well at Yoroshi1. So you can go follow that too if you have a Twitter account. I am very active on Twitter to let people know when and what I'm doing. So, as always, guys, have a wonderful day, and we'll let the song finish before I head out. See you later, guys. Have a good one.